guys. F1 is back. We are back into the second half of the year, second half of the season, and it started off with a bang. So I thought that I would film my first post-race debrief, chit chat. I don't know what I'm going to call it yet, so that is to be decided. But the whole gist is that we just sit down and have a chat about the race that just happened. So I'm currently on a road trip between Sydney and the Gold Coast. You know, it's been really fun, but it means like we didn't really have like a TV or something. So we actually watched it from the car overlooking the ocean in Port Macquarie, I think, and it was so cool and so beautiful. And so like the scenes were great, the vibes were great, but it does mean that I didn't get to watch qualifying. So the race we're chatting about right now, in case you have no idea, or you're watching this like not directly after it's happened, we're talking about the Netherlands race, which we just had on the weekend. I don't know the date. I'll try and let me find the date for you. On the 31st of August. Yeah, I didn't get to watch qualifying, but Jackson, you know, he got spoilers and then he told me what happened. And so in qualifying, we had Oscar, Lando, then Max, and then ISACK HADJAR. Like, I don't know how he qualified fourth, and I wish I could have watched qualifying and been there for like the yeah, but I mean I didn't because we're road tripping and we didn't have internet at that point. But anyway, so fast forward to the race. We were really keen to watch it, obviously, because ISACK was in fourth, like a rookie. ISACK is my second favorite driver after Oscar. I just think he's just so sweet. Do you know what I mean? I just think he's so pure, and it kind of feels like he stumbled into F1 and he's like, I accidentally walked into the wrong room, but I guess I'm here now. But then also he's just performing so well and he's doing so good, and I really hope they don't put him in the Red Bull because, like, please let him succeed. I don't know, like why will we ruin his career with a Red Bull? And it's also crazy to have Max and then ISACK, not Max, and then like Yuki. Yuki was like down, as he generally is. But yeah, so the race started. You know, you're always worried that like Lando is gonna overtake Oscar, or like, you know, the first corner is kind of like a pretty crazy part of the race. And it was all fine, you know. Actually, Oscar covered off Lando, and then Lando kind of like lost places to Max, and then Max like did a big not spin out, but like he like did a squirrely move with his car, and then Lando still didn't get around because Lando's playing it really safe, because if he didn't finish the race, right, or if he like got out or like didn't finish up sort of near the top, he would have not like lost himself the championship, but like the bigger of a gap he has in points to Oscar, the less chance he has of winning a championship. And like, spoiler alert, he didn't finish the race. That is crazy. Lando did not finish the race and Oscar finished first. So two main things happened in this race that was like the coolest thing ever. One, Oscar, you know, won, which we love. And because Lando didn't finish, his lead to Lando and his lead in the championship increased significantly from 9 points to like, what's 9 plus 25? 34? I don't know. His lead increased like a lot, okay? So that's really good. And also he got a Grand Slam, which I didn't even know was a thing, but apparently it's when you qualify first, lead all the laps in the race, get the fastest lap, finish first, I don't know, a bunch of things. So he did really good, right? Really great. But ISACK finished third. ISACK finished on the podium. Like, how did ISACK get his first podium in this race? I don't know. It was insane to watch. I think it's almost like the whole Lando's car, because Lando didn't finish because his car like broke. Like, it wasn't his fault. He didn't crash. He didn't make a mistake. His car just stopped working right towards the end. And that means that he didn't get any points that race, which is crazy. But that was just so overshadowed. Is that what the word is? That, like, ISACK HADJAR made Lando not finishing like a non-event. It was crazy. And the scenes at the end of the race when ISACK won, I think that like the F1 world just had this collective, like, our hearts are swelled because he was so happy. And so it just seems like a kid that's just like suddenly on there, and I'm like, how? And I feel like he's up there going, I don't know. And it was really, really great to see. And he started fourth, and he would have finished fourth, except that Lando's car, you know, didn't sort of do well. Other notable things that happened in the race. Lewis crashed out. I think it was a bit slippery, and then he went onto like the paint bit, and then he went, oop, and he did a bit of a, oh, there's a bird making a nest. Anyway, he just kind of lost it and then just clipped the wall, but his car got like messed up. Then there was a yellow flag, which meant that all the cars pitted. And then because there was yellow flags, it kind of meant that Oscar and Lando were running the same strategy, which is good, because I think my biggest worry about Lando beating Oscar in that race was running a different strategy, like how he does sometimes. You know, he he won't do as well in qualifying, and then he won't be doing as well, but then he'll accidentally fall in a strategy that works better because he's playing it more risky because he's got less to lose. So it was good that they were on the same strategy, so I wasn't really worried about Lando overtaking Oscar, and they even said like his best chance to beat Oscar, or his only chance, was to actually fight him in the race, so like catch up and then race him. Obviously he didn't get the chance to do that, but Lewis crashing and then having them have the same pit stop and strategy did make my peace of mind better before, you know, his car broke. Then it's like a little bit hard to remember because I've done so much in the last few days and it's just been crazy. So before Lewis crashed, they had just pitted Charles Leclerc. My brain is fried. Before Lewis crashed, Charlie pitted because he was trying to do the undercut for Isaac. But then, because Lewis crashed, right, it meant that they all had like a cheap pit window, but like Charles missed it. Like he missed the pit window. So it kind of messed him up on that sense. So he was already having like a bit of bad luck that race. And then, you know, he was driving like a bit like a madman, and he kind of overtook George, and it was like a little bit dodgy. I mean, I don't know, George was upset about it, and or wait, I don't know, was George trying to overtake? I don't even remember, but there was a moment between Charlie and George, and then later Kimi was trying to do the undercut, right? They're like, let's bring Kimi in and he can undercut Charles Leclerc, and then Leclerc was like, yeah. So they brought Kimi Antonelli in and pitted him to try and get the undercut on Leclerc. And then Leclerc was like, their team, Ferrari's like, let's pit you. And I was like, I don't know why they're pitting him because all the other cars are going to go to the end of the race. And it kind of seemed like an oddball move, but like that's also not surprising for Ferrari. But I was like watching it confused, thinking, well, I'm like, he only like undercuts like if you pit, right? Like, I don't know if I'm missing something here, but they pitted him, and then Leclerc came out, and he came out next to Kimi, in front of Kimi actually. He beat the undercut, but then Kimi like dive bombed him into a corner, which is just kind of like a rookie mistake. But he took Leclerc out, and then Leclerc, he was out of the race. So not only did his first undercut get sabotaged by Lewis crashing, then he literally got crashed into and was out of the race. He's had some bad luck. And then there's all these shots of him just like, he got out of his car, right? And usually they take the drivers straight back to the pits, right? Or to their garages. And he was just like, no. So he gets out of the car, and first he sits in the marshal's like chairs. He's just sitting there, and then he sat on the top of a sand hill and just watched the rest of the race and was just like on his phone, and he just didn't go back to the Ferrari garage. And there's all these pictures of him, and like that's why there's so many memes about it, because like that's not typically what happens. He just like, he looks so sad. Oh, and then when Lando's car stopped working, he did the same thing. He just sat on the side, like the road, like the track, and he just like sat there all sad. Man, he looked sad. I did feel for Lando because it wasn't even like something he did, and then it just like totally fucked up his race. But it was also good for Oscar, so it's like, sorry Lando fans, but like, I think the other notable things were that Carlos got a 10-second penalty that was like really crazy, like ridiculous. They gave him 10 seconds for it, and his radio message is so funny because it was like so outrageous. He was like, I think their radio to him was like, you have a 10-second penalty, and he goes, who has a 10-second penalty? Me? It was so funny. Oh, I have to put it in here.
We do get a penalty, us, 10 seconds, I will say, at the pit stop.
Who? Who gets a penalty? Me?
You get.
Are you joking? You're joking. I mean, it's the most ridiculous thing I've heard in my life.
He's so funny and sassy, but I mean, true, it was very crazy that he got a 10-second penalty. And then I also remember about Lando, right after Lewis crashed, and there was a radio message with his team where he's like, did Lewis crash because he went on the paint and it was slippery? And they were like, yes. And he was like, that would be a good bit of information that you should have told me, because like, why didn't you? And I just think it's so interesting to hear what the drivers say to their teams. And it's a bit funny when they get a bit like sassy, because I don't know, like they're just being themselves, and I just think that's so funny. Classic Oscar won, and he was like, nice, very subtle message. Was there anything else? I don't know. I feel like this video is shambles. But yeah, all in all, it was a good race, and I very much enjoyed it, and it was very cool to watch it, you know, with the coffee, and there was like dolphins in the water as we were watching it, and it was insane. And to watch Isaac get his first podium, it was crazy, and like I was just on top of the world. It was really cool. It's like Isaac on a podium, Oscar increasing his race championship lead, F1 just back in general. Like, what more could you want, to be honest? Like, great vibes. And also, I'm pretty sure Bottas and Perez are signed for Cadillac next year. So, I mean, we were presuming that that's who would be signed, but it's cool that it's confirmed. They're choosing experience. It'll be funny if their car's really good and then they do better than their former teammates, but I mean, also unlikely. Anyway, this video was kind of shambles. I don't know if I'm going to be able to edit into anything salvageable, but I also did want to do these race recaps, and I don't know, I'm not really trying to make it like perfect or anything. I just want to, you know, do it in the moment and talk about it, and I think I'll get better as I practice, you know what I mean? If I got anything wrong, just let me know. There's a very high chance that I got something wrong. There's always more to learn in Formula 1. Anyway, my camera is about to die, so I think I'm going to leave it there. And I guess I'll see you after the next race. Hopefully Oscar wins again.